March 29, 2011. Today I received a call from an unknown number, obviously from some city. The number started with 4,499. On the other end of the line was a young man with a very pleasant, somehow hypnotic voice. He said he was calling a friend and had misspelled a digit. We talked for half an hour. His name is Sam. March 30th, 2011. Sam called again. He said he missed me. Strangely enough, I guess I missed him too. I also didn't say anything to Kyle about his call last night. April 12th, 2011. This is something unbelievable. I talk to Sam almost every day and I look forward to his calls like it's a holiday. It's just amazing that we were brought together by such a coincidence as a wrong number. I never get enough sleep because we spend hours on the phone or chatting at night. He likes to chat with me on the phone. He says I have a beautiful voice. Kyle resents me because we rarely see each other and we haven't made love in 2 weeks. I say I have problems at work. I'm embarrassed in front of him, but I can't help it. Sam is just something. This is a man on my wavelength. April 15th, 2011. Sam sent pictures of his city and his XUA, so beautiful. I told him that I would like to visit him. He sent me a bunch of smiley faces and replied, well, come over. By the way, he still hasn't told me where he lives. Hell, I could find it myself. I know the code, but I don't want to. I want him to tell me, that's all. April 23rd, 2011. Sam is coming to town. He said he'd be here in a few days and suggested we meet. Of course I said yes. April 26, 2011. Sam is here. Yay, 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 yay. He texted me from my phone and said he'd be waiting for me at the park around 5 p.m. I'm so excited. Kyle, I'm sorry, but I think this is my destiny. Okay, I'm going to go put on my makeup. I finished my last sentence and looked back at Kyle. My friend was standing by the window, leaning against the wall with his arms crossed over his chest. He wasn't looking at me. He seemed to be completely absorbed in what was happening outside. Is this your journal? Yes, Kyle finally pulled himself away from the scene. She kept it for a few years, and I didn't even know. I got a link to it from Olivia's email. The day after her funeral. I shrugged. What's the big deal? It must have been the sister. I was going through her paperwork and, well, Kyle didn't answer. I thought about Olivia. I'd known Kyle since high school, and I'd met her at the institute when we were all in the same group. And after graduation, she and my best friend started dating. They dated for 3 years. Kyle loved her very much, and she seemed to love him back, and it was strange to read an almost confession of infidelity, especially now, 2 weeks after her death. Olivia was found in a city park. She was sitting on a bench, as calm and serene as if she were asleep. Her cell phone was clenched in her hand. Her fingers were barely unclenched afterwards. Kyle's voice was so sudden and loud that I jumped. Did you look at the pictures? What do you think? Well, just a regular town, houses, trees. Maha, save a picture to your hard drive and open it. I dutifully scrolled up and saved the first image to my desktop. But the image that opened was not a square flooded with light, and somewhere I've seen this picture before. What do you mean? She wasn't supposed to. Hey, buddy, want to get together? Sure. I was just about to call you myself. Mook, great, let's go to my place. Yeah, I'm on my way. Kyle, what's your number? Is it a new one? But I guess my friend didn't hear the last question, because instead of answering, I got a short dial tone. I went to the call history to write down the number and felt the ground literally come out from under my feet, although I always thought that was just a beautiful expression. Collapsing into my chair, I took a long look at the numbers on the screen. The area code was 4,499. A short time later, I called Kyle's mother and learned what I already knew. She'd found her son dead last night. My friend was lying in his bed, a smile on his face and a cell phone in his hand. The funeral is tomorrow. But I won't be there, because he'd called me 9 times in the last hour. The 3rd time I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the phone and screamed. No, this isn't funny, you fucking asshole. On the 5th, I pulled out the SIM card and flushed it down the toilet. But that didn't stop calls from a non-existent city going through to my now non-existent number. The phone still keeps ringing, and I'm really scared. I know what's going to happen next. And I am writing all of this with the sole purpose of warning any young people who will read this. Maybe this is already happening all over the place, or maybe it's starting to happen. I don't know. But if you hear on the news about a wave of sudden deaths, killing only the young if you were born in '86, and if one day your cell phone screen shows a number with the area code 4499, do not answer the phone. Do you hear me? Don't answer the goddamn phone.
It was the first calm night I had in 5 years. Jake and I stayed home, drank wine, and chatted. Life appeared to be improving. "I'm aware it's too early to say," said Jake, taking a sip from his glass, "but we might be able to fix it." He's correct, it's early. I took my drink also. I would like to trust that, but I'm unsure if we can continue to live the way we did after all that's occurred. Jake made a face. Our marriage has been in trouble for 5 years since Alexa went missing. There's a picture of her in a cheap bright orange frame on the coffee table. She gave it to us for our anniversary. She was 13 years old then, a kind and happy girl. 3 days after the photo was taken, she didn't return home from school. Her father, Jake, was away on business in a nearby town. When her mother called him, he immediately came over. The police suspected us both, but they didn't find anything. Jake admitted to me that he was there to see his mistress. He needed a way to relieve stress. I couldn't forgive him despite being presumed innocent. The sudden ringing of the phone made me flinch, as it always did. Since Alexa disappeared, phone calls have made me panic. "Who else is here at this hour?" Jake snapped. He strode to the nightstand and grabbed the phony. I observed how his face paled and his eyes opened wide in terror. "What? No, this can't happen." He hung up the phone and looked at me intensely. "Tell me the truth." I immediately stood up. "Did the police call us?" I asked. "No, it was a wrong number," he replied, but his eyes still showed fear. "Don't lie to me, Jake." "Jake, what's going on? What's happening?" I tried to reach for the phone, but Jake stopped me by grabbing my arm. I cried out in agony. "Release me. I must know the truth." Yet Jake had already ended the call. Alexa's phone buzzed from her room. I freed myself and hurried upstairs. I secured myself in my daughter's room, taking the phone. "Mommy!" Alexa spoke. I cried. "Is that you, sweetie? Where are you?" Jake pounded on the door, yelling for me to hang up, but all I could hear was my daughter's voice. "Daddy hurt me. Now he's going to hurt you." Jake broke down the door, but he found no one in the room. The phone was silent, and he went missing from that night. A few hours later, the police called me, informing that they had discovered Alexa's grave along with the other girls. Jake was revealed to be a dangerous murderer. His conclusion, she contacted me for the last time. She let me know where Jake was hiding. I still can't tell if it was just my imagination or if her voice was real. I've been living alone ever since. Sometimes the phone rings, but I don't answer it anymore. I need to learn to move forward and not dwell on the past, even though it can be a challenge.